It was a bit of a slow week with the All-Star break, but I am back tonight with some CFL picks, some COD picks, and some soccer picks. I'm not going to recap the previous video's picks because I don't really give any specific slip. I just said go under on the total bases, and if you did do that on the All-Star game, you would have been more successful than not because I believe about 5 or 6 out of the 8 actually did go under the basis prop. But I also noticed like 1 or 2 hours after I uploaded, they completely ripped the total basis prop because they were too good. So if anyone did get those in early, hopefully you guys cash with those props. Now, Prizepicks has been running a COD promo over the past 2 days, where basically if you bet $15, you're going to get a $15 free lineup. So for those of you who still have that free lineup and are looking for some COD plays, I will show you the exact one I sent to the Discord, and I'll explain why I chose the picks that I did and the correlation between COD plays, because in all esports there's some sort of correlation, because in a lot of these games the kills are going to depend on how many rounds there are or just how long the game is in duration. There's no set time. It's not like every game is going to be 10 minutes. So with that, there's going to be a lot of correlation within those same matches. So we'll go ahead and kick it off with the COD free lineups. We got Atlanta versus Toronto, and the player I'm going with for Atlanta is going to be Draza on his under 58.5. Map 1 to 3 kills. I'll show the value we're getting on this. It's pretty good. And we're going to be stacking it up with Insight on his under 50.5 map 1 3 kills. But like I was saying, in esports for Valorant, COD, and CS2, the correlation is kind of the same. You're depending on either quick maps or long maps. So obviously if it's a quicker map, there's going to be less kills. And if it's a longer map, there's going to be more kills for both of the players across both of the teams. So in each of these maps, it's going to be a different game mode, but we're hoping that it's going to be a faster than average game for each of the maps. Now, why am I taking these guys instead of Abezi, instead of Simp on Atlanta? Well, if I'm going over to Underdog, I could actually compare these lines and see where they're setting it at and see if we're getting any points of value. And in this case, you see on Draza, we're getting 56.5 kills on game 1, 2, 3 on Underdog. Again, on Prizepicks, we're getting 58.5. So at the very least, we're getting 2 kills higher on Prizepicks. In this case, you want to be on the under. If we wanted to take the over, we might as well go over to Underdog and grab the over on this specific player. So I know it's just one data point and you don't really know who's right, is it Underdog or Prizepicks, but you might as well be taking as many points in your direction as possible. So that's where we're going to go with the under on that. The next one is Insight. You see it's 50.5 on Prizepicks. On Underdog, we're getting even more value. It's at 48 kills, so we're getting 2.5 kills of value, and this is a lower line. So this Insight line is very, very good. It's even better than the Draza line, and we get that positive correlation. And I want to show you guys this in effect so it makes a bit more sense to you. So in the last 2 COD plays, I actually hit both of them. I gave out 2 4-mans to the Discord. This is the first one that unlocked the first $10 free play entry, so we cashed that for a nice 10x. I only put 5 on it, but that's because of my limits. And then if we go over to the one I sent the other night, which was basically last night, we also cashed that one. So I'm on a 2-0 streak on these. Obviously, these pay 10x, so that's very good units of profit, especially for people who only bet $5. They turned 10 into 100. Then they got a free $10 entry and turned that into 95. That's $185 on profit because they put in 10 and got back 195. So I'm hoping for today in the YouTube video, it's been a little while since I uploaded, that I could cash this with you guys too, and we could go 3-0 on these 4-mans. Just want to show you guys that it does make sense what I'm doing here if you guys are not familiar with COD or esports in general. The correlation is pretty decent, and we're getting those lines of discrepancy on both Draza and Insight. The second game we're going to go to is going to be the Optic versus New York one. The first player we're going with is Dashi on his under 52.5 map 1-3 kills. And as we just did, we want to be taking someone from the opposing team on their under. This time it's going to be Sib on his under 57.5 map 1-3 kills. Let's go and compare this line to Underdog once again, just to show you why I'm taking these specific guys. We're getting 2.5 kills extra on Prizepicks here. So we want to be on that under there. And then same thing for Sib. He's set at 57.5 on Prizepicks. He is set at 56 on Underdog. 1.5 kills of value there. So we got correlation, we got discrepancies. This is going to be that full 4-man slip for those of you that have that COD lineup. And I think Prizepicks is dropping another promo for COD today. So no matter what, if you got that free lineup, you're going to play this. And if Prizepicks drops another promo today where you have to bet like $20 to get another COD lineup, go ahead and throw this one in for your COD lineup. Now I actually have 2 more slips. I'm going to be building them both with CFL. And the first player I'm going with is Bo Levi Mitchell on his under 317.5 passing yards. Like I normally say in CFL, these lines are normally too high. So 317.5 is too high relative to all the other sports books because people love jamming the overs, and Prizepicks knows they have an advantage if they set this guy higher than he should be. Now you see that's not going to be true for Cameron Dukes when I go over that, but let's just talk about the Hamilton stack for now. So remember this number right here, 317.5 passing yards. Let's go compare this to 3 other data points starting with Underdog set at 315.5. So we're getting 2 passes of extra value there. If we go over to Bet365, he's set at 310.5. That's 7.5 extra passing yards right there. And then on FanDuel, he's set at 313.5. That's 4 extra passing yards of value we're getting on Prizepicks. So that's 3 data points telling us that Bo Levi Mitchell is too high on Prizepicks. We would want to go with the under on the quarterback. So since we're going under on the quarterback, that is going to be heavily correlated with one of his receivers. We have 3 options here, and the best one is going to be Bridges for the exact same reason, but also because he's wide receiver 1. and it's better to correlate with wide receiver 1 most of the time compared to the other wide receivers. So Bridges right here is set at 77.5, on underdog 76.5. On Bet365 he is set at 74.5, and then on FanDuel he is set at 73.5. So we're getting about 2 to 4 extra passing yards of value compared to all the other sportsbooks. Once again, this is a great play. You want to be on the double unders. Do not go and take the double overs. I'm not saying the double overs won't hit, but I'm saying in the long run, it's more likely that the double under is going to hit because we're getting up to 8 to 10 yards of value on both of these players cumulatively. So that is great to see. You want to be on this double under. Now, it's not always that simple because let's say you want to go for Tim White. He's set at 63.5 on Prizepicks. And if you go over to underdog, he's actually set at 63.5 there too. And if you go over to Bet365, he's set at 65.5. So it's actually kind of too low on Prizepicks here. So that's again why Shamar is the better play. If you go and check FanDuel as this last data point, he's also set at 64.5 there. Remember, he's 63.5 on Prizepicks. He's actually too low, so we'd want to be on the over on this specific player. But obviously, it wouldn't make sense to go and grab Tim White over and Bo Levy on his under. So you want to go with Shamar and Bo Levy. And now we can go over to soccer to end this slip off. So I'm eyeing this goalie saves prop on the Inter Miami goalie here. We got Drake on the 2.5 goalie saves. Now lines like these are kind of hard to see like where the value is. You can't really compare it to many sports books. Not really any of them have it. But if we do check this past 4 out of 5, I know you guys love to see that he has cashed this on the over 4 out of 5 times. But what I do like about this play is I'm going to be stacking it up with another player on Chicago. But before I show you the Chicago player I'm stacking with, I'm going to show you on underdog. He's actually at 0.8x multiplier on the over 2.5 saves. So at least on underdog, they're saying the over is way more likely than the under. So at least we have that one data point. Now again, it's the same debate as the COD slips, like who's right on this? Is it Prizepicks or underdog? Well, I'm going to go with underdog in here. A 0.x is pretty drastic. They don't normally just throw out 0.x's out of nowhere. Normally it would be like a 0.9x or a 0.95x. So I definitely do think the juice is on the over on Drake. And if you look at the past 5, that kind of does make sense. I mean, it's not the holy grail here, but at least you see there's some positive direction towards the over. Even if this was a 50-50 line, which I don't think it is, as I said, I do think the juice is on the over. Well, stacking it up with this next player is going to help us because we're grabbing the over 1.5 shots assisted on his opponent. So what this means is if Brian Gutierrez is going over that 1.5 shots assisted, well then Chicago gets at least 2 shots and hopefully maybe 1 or 2 of those is on target. And just in general, if this guy is cashing the shots assisted line, well, it means that Chicago is playing good enough offense to actually get shots off. And the more shots off they get, the more shots assisted he's going to get. And it's just a snowball reaction that eventually, if they are getting enough shots, he's going to get his shots assisted. And Drake is ideally going to get over on the goalie saves because Chicago is playing a good offensive game. It's a similar concept to just taking over shots on the player and then over goalie saves on the opposing goalkeeper, except that would give us a payout nerf. In this way, we're not getting any payout nerfs. You see, it still pays 10x, so I do like that better. Now, in the past 5 games, you can see Brian Gutierrez actually did clear us in 3 out of 5. And in this game right here versus Cincinnati, he did not start the game. So that would be a DNP for us either way. And yes, he did get 0, but I do want to show you his game logs. It does look pretty promising. This stat right here, KP, is key passes, which is exactly the same as shots assisted. And you notice he did get 3 and 4 of the games this season. He also got 2 quite often, and a couple of times he did get 1. Now you will see a couple of games where he also got 0, but notice right here, this N means he did not start. So in 4 of these games, it would have just been a DNP. So the only playable games are these ones here where he actually started. Last game he did not start, but he did score a goal off the bench. I do expect him to start tonight. He's in the expected lineup, so everything's looking good there. And if you count the games where he actually did start, he did clear his key passes or passes attempted on the over 1.5, 11 out of the 19 games. So that's about a 58% hit rate on this prop this season, and stacking that up with the over saves, I'm absolutely loving this entry as the first one. So a bit of CFL and some soccer. We're going to lock this one in, and I still have one last slip for you guys. I know it's a bit of a long video today, but I haven't uploaded in a while, so I think everyone deserves that. Let's go over to CFL one last time, and we're going to go over to Cameron Dukes and grab him on the passing yards. So I know I just said the under is normally to play in the CFL. Well, in this case, it's actually the over on Cameron Dukes, and we're going to be taking the over on Rasheed Bailey. We're getting quite a bit of points of value on both these players. Let's go and do that comparison that we did with the other plays. So Cameron Dukes, 243.5 on Prizepicks. On underdog, there's actually 1 pass less, but if you go and check on FanDuel, he's set at 248.5. So that's 5 more passes on FanDuel than Prizepicks. And then on Bet365, similar concept here is at 246.5. So on Prizepicks, it's not the lowest line, but it's the second lowest. And underdog is just 1 pass right under that. So I do feel comfortable when going on the over on Cameron Dukes. Now for the wide receiver, why am I going Rasheed Bailey instead of any of these other receivers? Well, we're just getting the most passes of value here. And all these receivers are quite close to each other in the receiving yards prop. You know, they're all around that 45.5 to 40.5. And Rasheed Bailey should be upwards of that like 44.5, as I'll show you right now. On underdog, he's exactly 40.5 like Prizepicks, But on Bet365, he set at 44.5. So that's 4 receiving yards of advantage there. Then even better on FanDuel, he set at 45.5. That's 5 extra passes in our direction. And if you compare that to the other players like Daniel, he set at 46.5 on FanDuel. He's also set at 47.5 on Bet365. And he set at 45.5 on Prizepicks. So we're only getting like 2 receiving yards of value compared to Bailey. We're getting 4 to 5 receiving yards of advantage. And then the same thing for Coxie. I'm not going to show you, but it's like 1 or 2 yards we're getting in our favor. So I do like Rashid Bailey as the best one. Think of Bailey as like a 10% discount prop. You definitely want to be on that. So this is going to be the stack for the Toronto Argonauts. And let's go back over to soccer to end this slip off. I know there's MLB today, guys, but honestly, the soccer props are just better. So I'm going to go with these instead. I want you guys to win rather than me just forcing MLB props for the sake of the video. So back in soccer, very similar concept to what I did with the other one. We're going with Brad Stuver on his under 3.5 goalie saves. Once again, he has hit this in the past 4 to 5 games on the under. And on top of that, like the other goalie saves prop I took, he is set at 0.8x on underdog. So again, in underdog's eyes, he is more likely to go under 3.5 saves than over, and very much more likely, right? So I am happy with that. Last 4 out of 5 does check out. And we're going to be stacking this up with another shots assist prop. Of course, the goalie is on Austin, so we're going to be taking a Charlotte player on his under, and that Charlotte player is going to be Brant Bronico here on his under half a shot assisted. In the game log, you'll see he went under in the past 3 to 5 games, but I took a closer look at his stats here. And some of his games he did not start. I counted the ones where he did, and that was in 10 appearances. So over in the key passes, once again, you're going to see he cleared this 5 times. But in one of his games, he did not even start, so I'm not going to count that one. Let's count the ones that he did start only, and that's going to be a total of 10 games. And in those 10 games, he got the key passes 4 times. So basically 6 out of 10 times, he went under this prop. Stacking that up with a goalie who is juiced towards the under. I'm loving this as the second entry. Let's lock this one in, guys. That's 3 slips for today. Good luck, everyone.